Good
Good
morning, everyone.
morning.
How are you guys? It's Thursday, May 6th. We hope that you're having a great week. We're having so much fun here in class with our new activity that we're working on, the mini mystery lesson. We're all having fun with our creative minds and our creative brains going forward. So we're excited to introduce today's lesson. We have already focused on setting, problem. Yesterday we did suspects,
Yep.
and now today we get to decide who will be the detective and what will be the clues. So it's all coming together. It's kind of like a big puzzle. So let's go ahead and look out at a planning map today. And on our first bullet point, it states that we're going to read aloud the section to you of the Planning Your Mystery worksheet that explains the rules for creating a detective for the mystery. Mr. Herring?
Alrighty, so who is your detective? You will need to have a detective in your story. The detective can be a child or an adult. Describe your detective and tell a little bit about him or her. If your detective has a partner or a helper, describe him or her as well.
So remember that when you are thinking about your detectives, could we go back to that page, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Remember that when we're talking about our detectives, like yesterday, we focused on the bell work where we discussed character traits, and we've been really focusing hard this year on internal and external. And we need you to add two internal and two external traits to the section here that says who is your detective. So, for example, if you choose that your detective is going to be a man named Edward, you need to describe what Edward looks like externally, and then two descriptors on what he is internally with the traits discussed yesterday. So please don't just put Detective Edward, Detective Sarah. We need to know very specifics, especially if they're an adult or a child. Go ahead and add their age as well.
Yep.
And you can put the age in the physical trait section.
Yep.
So if we can go back to the planning map, Mr. Herring.
No.
Alrighty. Bullet point number 2. We're going to ask that you make a list of detectives from mysteries that students have read during this mystery unit or prior to the mystery genre study in class. Let's break that down. So we're going to ask that you go ahead and get a piece of notebook paper, and we're going to have you make a list of your detectives. You can, when it says from mysteries that students have read, go back to that link that we posted on Monday. You can do that, or if you have like a book that you've read, maybe that can trigger a list of detectives. So you can come up with that, put that on notebook paper, and then make sure that you upload the picture here on this assignment.
Yep.
So it also says that you're going to have students decide the following things. Now, here's where it gets important. On that piece of notebook paper where you make your list of detectives, you are going to answer these seven questions on the notebook paper and post a picture of it on the computer.
About the detective you choose.
Now, why would we need you to do it on notebook paper when we have a document that we could create for you? We need to see your handwriting. We want to see your writing, your creativity, and not just be done completely on a computer every day of the year. So we do need your work samples. Now let's go through the questions one at a time. Question number 1. Will my detective be an adult or a kid? How old is my detective? Number 2. Will my detective be a boy or a girl? Number 3. Will my detective have a sidekick or a group of friends who help solve the case? Number 4. What name will I give my detective? Number 5. What will my detective look like? Number 6. What type of personality will my detective have? Number 7. Where will my detective live? Mr. Herring, do you have anything to add to those questions?
So, guys, just pay attention when we talked about make sure you have those character traits. That is what our questions are asking. Okay? We have to make sure we know what they look like, we know how old they are, and remember, if you have that group of friends, that group, you need to explain that group of friends too. What do they look like? How old are they? You need to include all your characters.
So once students, you have thought about the information that you have written out on your notebook paper. You're going to fill it out on the Who is Your Detective section of the Planning Your Mystery worksheet. So going back to that section right there. Students, please make sure 100% that you are only working on each section assigned per day. I will repeat this statement again because it has been brought up to us and there's some red flags, especially online students. Please make sure you're watching our videos. Please make sure that you're only doing one step at a time per day. Because what we are seeing together, Mr. Herring and myself, what we're seeing is that you are filling out this planning map before we even instructed you with on the lesson. So you can't work ahead. Please do not work ahead. Otherwise, we're going to have you redo it. And that takes up more time for you. And it definitely takes us more time for us because then we have to go back and double check our work. So make sure that you're staying focused, stay on track, and let's have fun with these mysteries. They're coming up really good ideas. We've got a lot of fun stuff that we've seen here in the classroom, also what we've seen online. So make sure you're just focusing on your detectives. And until then, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Ta-ta.